Ever wondered why the Anunnaki kingdoms, Enlilites and Enkiites, gathered in Nippur at Enlil's call? The answer might surprise you. In the heart of the Middle Zone, the Anunnaki kingdoms, both Enlilites and Enkiites, lived in a state of uneasy coexistence. Their society was divided, their interests clashed, but one thing they all shared was their troubled relationship with the humans. The humans, once submissive and obedient, were now asserting their independence, refusing to aid the Anunnaki in their quest for survival. This growing rebellion was of grave concern to Enlil, the ruler of the Anunnaki, so he summoned everyone to Nippur, his capital city. The call was urgent, the message clear. The humans were becoming a threat, and something had to be done. From near and far, the Anunnaki heeded Enlil's call. Even Enki and Ninhursag, leaders of the Enkiites, who often found themselves at odds with Enlil, attended the assembly. Enlil stood before them all, and pleaded for the subjugation of the humans. "Their independent will is taking over," he warned. "They have no intention of helping us with what we need." What was the secret weapon that Ninurta spoke of, and why did it cause such a stir among the Anunnaki? The answer to this question was about to send shockwaves through the assembly. The secret weapon was none other than the missing weapons of terror, a set of 7 deadly devices capable of unimaginable destruction. These were not just any weapons, they were the tools of apocalypse, feared and revered by all Anunnaki. As Ninurta unmasked the secret, the room fell into a chilling silence. The air was thick with tension. The Anunnaki were no strangers to conflict, but the prospect of wielding such power was daunting, even to them. The weapons of terror were the stuff of legends, a dark chapter in their history that they hoped to never revisit. Yet here they were, facing the grim reality of their existence. Then came another revelation, one that stirred the assembly even more. Nergal, a trusted figure among them, confessed to relocating the weapons. This act of defiance, executed under the cover of Marduk's absence, was a shocking betrayal. The weapons, thought to be lost forever, were now at their disposal, ready to be unleashed at a moment's notice. This was when Ninurta made his audacious proposal. The humans, he argued, had become a threat to their existence. Their independent will was taking over, and they had no intention of helping the Anunnaki with what they needed. The solution: use the weapons on the human cities. Silence the rebellion once and for all. Enki, the voice of reason among them, vehemently opposed the plan. He understood the catastrophic consequences of such an action, but his pleas fell on deaf ears. The proposal was put to a vote, a democratic process that would decide the fate of the humans. Despite Enki's protests, the proposal was put to a vote. The verdict: bomb the humans. Such a decision was not made lightly. It was a testament to the desperation of the Anunnaki, and a chilling reminder of the lengths they were willing to go to ensure their survival. The stage was set for a day of terror, one that would change the course of history forever. The day had been chosen. Anunnaki were ordered to seek shelter. The day of terror was about to begin. A sense of urgency filled the air as the Anunnaki, inhabitants of the Western Middle Zone, heeded the command of Enlil. They hurried to Nippur, their capital city, to shield themselves from the impending chaos. Meanwhile, Ninurta and Nergal retreated to the undisclosed location of the weapons of terror. These were no ordinary weapons. They were atomic bombs, held in reserve, waiting for the moment of release. With Marduk incapacitated and Enki oblivious to their location, there was no one to prevent the inevitable. As dawn broke, the stage was set. With the Anunnaki safely tucked away, the weapons of terror were launched. 9,000 years since the Great Flood had passed, and 2,024 years remained until the prophesied birth of Yosu and the arrival of Ibir. The first bomb, dropped by Ninurta, targeted the spaceport of Nana and Ninhursag in the Sinai. The blast was immense, obliterating the once bustling spaceport into a desolate wasteland. But this was just the beginning. The terror was far from over. Under the command of Ninurta and Nergal, 6 more cities were targeted. Sodom, Gomorrah, and 4 other cities in the conflict zone were reduced to rubble. The shockwaves reverberated across the land, and the once thriving cities were engulfed in flames. The air filled with smoke, and the cries of the doomed drowned in the deafening roars of the explosions. The world watched in horror as the day of terror unfolded. The destruction was unimaginable, the loss of life, catastrophic. 90% of all life succumbed to the waves of destruction. The cities were in ruins, and the earth was on the brink of desolation. With the cities in ruins and life hanging by a thread, the earth stood still. The day of terror had passed, but what would come next? In the wake of the destruction, the Anunnaki now faced a world on the brink of extinction. Like a storm that had passed, leaving only devastation in its wake, the bombings had ravaged the once bustling cities. 90% of all life had succumbed to the waves of terror, painting a picture of death and despair. From the once vibrant cities of Sodom and Gomorrah to the spaceport of Nana and Ninhursag, all that was left were haunting echoes of what once was. The future, once teeming with promise, now stood shrouded in uncertainty. The Anunnaki, in their pursuit of control, had unleashed a force that threatened the very existence they sought to dominate. As the dust settled, the Anunnaki were left to wonder, what had they done? And more importantly, what would the humans do in retaliation? That, dear listeners, is a story for another time.